The reason why this is critical, and I just want to make sure I explain myself here, an integrated regulatory strategy is not a regulatory plan. Okay. So when you're looking at an integrated regulatory strategy, you're coming up with the compilation of various plans, a quality system plan. You have an HTA a reimbursement strategy plan. What is your strategic partnership plan? What partners are you going to choose? As I mentioned earlier on a previous slide, before we got into this slide, what is the overall quality system strategy? And it has to align to the business strategy. Now, people will come back to me and saying, James, I agree with you, but the business strategy is not part of the quality system. And I 100% agree. But there's got to be a touch point within a company where you have the overall business strategy characterized so you can cascade down what type of quality system regulatory submission strategy do you need. You have the IP and product development plans. The reason why this is a topic right now that's sort of out there is because of the amount of partners that you're going to have now in 2025 and beyond into the future. And when I present this, it's more or less us to define what is the supplier versus a partner. So in this context here for an ADC and other next generation of products, the supplier historically, we've all used suppliers. It was acetone suppliers, raw materials, plastics, etc. And more or less, we went about the QA audit. You did your qualification. You put a quality agreement in place. They go onto an approved supplier list. It's transactional. We want this material to build our product underneath one roof, one development process. We move along in development. That's different from a partner. A partner is somebody that's going to do all that plus more. They might have a device already in the market, which is a different dynamic than just a raw material. They might have a drug product or a cell therapy product that's in development or on the market. You're going to partner with them either to help them bring it to the market, or you might be the device company that's going to integrate, say, a biodegradable scaffold with the cell therapy to bring it together onto the market. So a partnership requires more work, more communication, more dynamics to move along in development. Because as Carolyn mentioned on the previous slide, we have to understand the cultural differences between our partners. There's one company that could be in various geographies around the world. There's a different culture, a language barrier, et cetera. There's different ways of working between two companies. So we have to understand that piece as part of the integrated regulatory strategy of how do we partner with somebody that can help us not just reach one market, I mean, a bunch of markets for unmet medical needs for these next generational technologies. The IP piece is critical, and it's one of these things, just like historically with clinical strategies, they're sort of off in their own world somewhere. And they're not integrated to they have to be, or they get an email, here's a protocol, can you hurry up and review it? Meanwhile, they have the product mischaracterized versus actually what we're developing. They thought it was a device, someone saying it's a pharmaceutical product. And then the IP piece, when you partner with somebody, is there any claims when you partner with somebody that we have to be aware of? So if you're using a device that's commercialized or in development, is there any things that we got to worry about as the market authorization holder for the intellectual property for the whole entire asset? So if we had the medicinal product, we're partnering with a device company, or if it's an ADC where we need a partner to help us with the antibody drug conjugate, bringing it to the market, what are some of the patents, intellectual property claims that we got to be aware of upfront in the development process, and not waiting until we get to phase 3, we're going to run a clinical and find out we don't have a patent in a certain country or some lower, and a trade secrets are not protected for some reason. And then obviously we can't move forward there because we have to go back again, reinvent the wheel, and go about that process. So that's the reason why these examples I'm giving here with the 4 blue circles are individual planning strategy documents that have to be integrated into an overall integrated regulatory strategy. So when I'm talking about integrated regulatory strategy, it's about the integration of all the traditional plans into one strategy so we can all move in the same cadence through development, a better discussion with the regulators. So now we have the product characterized, we know who our partners are, we know what we're doing. That way you can have better discussions with FDA, even with scientific advice and EMA. We understand what we're trying to do here. This is the characterization. This is our plan. And the only way you're going to be able to do that, again, my opinion, is through what we're talking about on the screen. A traditional regulatory plan, that's not going to gain you too much. As you can tell, there's so many other plans out there. And if one's not coordinating with the other, we're going to have a significant miss in development. That way you can have products going onto the market. And if you go into emerging markets with something like this, now the HTA reimbursement piece comes up. Are there products already in the market to meet this particular need or not? If yes, can we fit it into a crowded marketplace or can't we? Is the cost of goods too high for that particular market? If yes, maybe we have to come out with a different product configuration for that market. If no, then we can continue down the path. But a lot of this discussion, it has to have some discussion earlier on, because that leads to what partner do you choose? What suppliers do you choose if we're going down that path? Do we have representation in other countries? Do we need a distributor? Do we need a third partner involved just because we don't have a footprint in those countries? A lot of things have to be streamlined up front, and the integrated regulatory strategy could be an option to help streamline some of this discussion and processes to really get these unmet medical need products to the patients in need, as well as complex generics that don't want to forget those products because they're important. How do we bring that even to the market, where generic companies historically, is an abbreviated new drug application, container closures, Carolyn mentioned. Now they're into drug delivery and it's transdermal patch. We get some other devices now. So how does the generic company bring a complex generic to the market, which those products are critical as well? So everyone's included here, but the integrated regulatory strategy is a very key document as we move into the next gen.